In early 1986, a small group of friends met for a Bible study in Huron and were reading in the book of Acts. And there came a moment, a pause, when a longing began to hum in that room, in those hearts. Could church really be like that? Like how it's described in Acts? Could church be so vibrant, so life-giving, so approachable, so appealing that whole communities are changed? Where love and friendship moves us to help each other, and needs are met. Where we share life, we celebrate, and together we joyfully experience life change. Then that little group began to ask another kind of question. What keeps people we know, our neighbors and friends, away from church? The answers had a sad consistency. Church isn't relevant. Churches talk too much about money. The church has so many problems, and I don't need any more problems in my life. Is it possible to have a church where those issues are not the norm? And the little group began to feel an excitement because it felt like God was saying, I'm going to do something here, something new, and I'm choosing you to be a part of it. In moments of unmistakable clarity, God asked for followers who would follow. He leads. He orchestrates. Our part is to listen the best we can, to follow the best we can. He looks for our willingness and waits for us to take a deep breath and jump. And the dream, his dream, comes alive. So join us now as we journey back to our future and revisit some of the places and faces that have been a part of the chapel since 1986.
That was the site where we had Bible studies led by Bill Schroeder in the summer of 1986.
Thursday nights we'd gather with a few people, and Bill Schroeder was going through some topics, and we'd meet, I think it was 8 o'clock in the evening, and the idea was kind of being nurtured about a possible church. And so there were just a few of us gathering, and we prayed about it. The 21st was our very first meeting in our house. And we were in a traveling ministry then, so we had this bus that was parked in front of our house. And that was the nursery for that day. So the kids were in the nursery, and we had our first service.
Our first meeting, we had 24 people in our home that Sunday morning. At 10 a.m. was the service time.
I just remember we just bonded as a small group as we were looking to God for direction for the future, and just saw God just instilling in Bill and Darlene just that vision of a church here in the area.
Donna was our first worship leader, and we did some music there right in the living room.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that.
I think we had those sheets, the lyrics on just these poster cards. Something.
No overhead, no PowerPoint.
Bill found our 1986 calendar, and on September 21st, in red, he have highlighted Chapel in Huron, our first formal church meeting at the Gassets. 10 a.m. in the morning, 24 people. On September 28th, that Sunday, we met in the Twine House, and that Sunday there were 27 people.
I kind of remember being at the Twine House and going there because I had been at a Bible study with John and Ken Parshauer, and I was just really impressed with just the relaxed nature, and being able to be myself, and I didn't feel like you had to be one person on Sunday and then another person the rest of the week.
I just thought they were very dedicated. For people just to start a church, that just blew my mind because, like you said, I wasn't used to that. But I remember sitting at the Twine House thinking, oh, those are beautiful boats going by. What's he talking about up there? And you'd look out and see Pastor Bill talking with the beautiful boats going by. And then another thing I remember is the kids in the bar. The kids were in the bar at Sunday school. I just thought that was a hoot. We had just gotten married 25 years ago, and I was a new Christian. I was brought up in a traditional church, but never really heard the word and never had the meat. So it was refreshing to start at the Twine House Chapel.
Very first Easter service was during that time, and they asked John and I to get up and give our testimonies about how God had healed our marriage. A few years before that, we just nearly didn't make it. The divorce was final. All we had to do was sign it, and it was just amazing how God gave us the spiritual glue to reconcile and to get back together. And now it's like talking about somebody else. It was...
I don't remember much about what we talked about, but I do remember that I had broken my leg a little time before that and had a cast on. It was a little difficult getting up and off the stage there at McCormick. One thing I do remember about what we talked about was how we can lay our burdens on the Lord, and He's got a yoke big enough to be able to carry it all.
Our first time visiting the chapel was in the fall of 1989. The chapel at that time was worshiping in the gymnasium in Woodlands Elementary.
We started attending and our faith grew, and we decided to be baptized in Dan and Kathy Patterson's swimming pool.
Chapel's been a great place for our family to worship, grow, and serve, and each one of our family members has been on a mission trip with the chapel.
The chapel has just been a core part of our lives and just such a vital piece of who we are over these last 20-some years. We've just made really wonderful friends who have encouraged us through good times and through challenging times.
In 1999, I was hurting and knew something in my life was missing. One day I walked into the chapel on Columbus Ave, and there was just something there with the people that I noticed. And I just felt I wanted to have what they had, and I didn't really understand what that even meant. And it's been an ongoing process, but things have certainly changed and things have happened, and I have a relationship with the Lord now, and I could not think of not having a relationship with the Lord at this point in my life.
I came to the chapel through Gloria in, I think it was May of 2000, and at Columbus Ave. And it was, at first it was quite a shock to me because I was currently at the time not attending church anywhere, probably for at least a year, almost 2 years or whatever. And where I had gone to church previously was a very strict, legalistic church. You know, we kept coming back and it really started to appreciate it more and how it was more relevant and more meaningful to your life. As time went on and we got married, we started bringing my father to the old building. And he was in a wheelchair at the time. He had Parkinson's and he was in a wheelchair. And I would go to Westlake, to a nursing home, and pick him up.
And then one day he could hardly stand up, and we were in the back and they were singing Amazing Grace, and he said, "Stand me up, stand me up." And to our amazement, he stood up and started singing the song. I asked Pastor Bill, I said, well, you know, I would like to talk to him, but I don't know what to say. And Pastor Bill said, well, just ask him, does he believe Jesus died for him and for his sins? And I asked him, and he only could shake his head, and he had tears. And so he came to know the Lord by attending the chapel at Columbus Ave. 1 year, Bill and I got married. My dad died, his dad died, then I lost my daughter. And her service was on Columbus Ave. And she's also in heaven as she knows the Lord. And the peace that I have with that, it's been 10 years now. Bill and I facilitate grief share now, and we talk to people all the time, and those, that don't know the Lord, we say, you need to know the Lord, because that's going to give you that peace that only the Lord can give you, that you'll never understand. It's a gift, but you get it, and so we've just come full circle.
A lot of life-changing events.
I'd probably been coming several months and asked him, at the time we were divorced, asked him if he would like to join me here, that I had found a wonderful place here on Galloway Road, and God was really leading my life. And he actually came. I wasn't sure if he would, but he did show up that Saturday night. And with the help of Molly and Pastor Bill, we remarried again this July.
We were married for 25 years and we divorced for over 6 years, and then we put God in our lives forefront, and everything changed.
I really believe God's plan for us is to help others. We're both really excited about the South Campus, since we are from Norwalk.
The complete 180 in my life to get here is just been life-saving. It's been life-saving.